From the Akeson fire outbreak in Oyo State on the 5th of January to the inferno which caused one death in Nguka-Obosi spare parts market in Anambra State on the 8th of January, or the bushfire that destroyed farmlands and plantations in no fewer than 4 communities in Aniocha South local government area of Delta State, or the unfortunate incident in Kano State on the 20th of February at Single Market on Adobayero Road in Kano Metropolis, or even the numerous incidents recorded in Lagos State.
The Lagos State Fire Service has attended to 177 fire emergencies in the month of January 2020 alone. A particular day in that very month, we attended to 15 fire emergencies. And that was the day we have the Amu fire market incident. Nobody knows that Amu is just one of the 15 that we attended that very day.
The plan of action that could lead to preventing and accelerating response to fire incidents lies in knowledge, especially when it has to do with the operations of fire equipment.
If you have electrical fire where cable are burning, you are not to use water. Reason is simple. If you apply water, it can cause electrocution.
Can fire be prevented? And did you know that you have a major role to play in the prevention of fire? Let's convince you more on this episode of Big Story. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. When it's not planned for and not expected, it brings disaster. Call it fire, inferno, or blaze, and you would be referring to something which hardly leaves pleasant marks or memories when not intentionally ignited. It happens when there's a combination of any sort of fuel, oxygen, and heat. And these elements seem to have been meeting constantly in various states of Nigeria since the beginning of 2020, as has become the unfortunate trend at the beginning of every year. Fire incidents have been recorded, especially in markets across many states, with properties worth millions lost. In fact, in Anambra State, a trader who lost 4 shops in Nguka-Obosi died from the loss, and many other incidents which people have been unable to escape and lost their lives, causing unquantifiable loss. Residents have recorded huge losses in properties when they've lost their homes and business places in states like Oyo, Ogun, Anambra, Delta, Kano, and the worst hit being Lagos.
The Lagos State Fire Service has attended to 177 fire emergencies in the month of January 2020 alone. A particular day in that very month, we attended to 15 fire emergencies. And that was the day we have the Amu fire market incident. Nobody knows that Amu is just one of the 15 that we attended that very day. The staff trend is keep counting. We recruited in 2017, 2018, that's about 250. The first was 150 in 2017 and 2018, where we also recruited 100. That gives 250 for those 2 years. And now we are also in the preparation for another set of recruitment, because as some of the firefighters get to retire, we get to replace them. So manpower is not what we are contending with.
In many areas, victims believe that the loss could have been minimized if firefighters had responded promptly and had in many cases come prepared.
I was called upon by 12:30. One of our members called me that all the market is on fire. I said, okay, you should break all this up that we have our this fire extinguisher. Use it to unquench it. They said it's not happened. You cannot quench it. And we need to call firefighter. When they call them, they are not here in time. If they are here in time, this thing will not happen. One of my members called me again that he has informed one woman that they have already sent the firefighter people. When I called them back, they said it's only 2 that are here. Later, they send another one, which the fire has gone beyond the control.
I don't believe a fireman will run his fire engine from his fire station down to where he is quote unquote the messiah at that point in time, and he will get there and announce, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be your messiah, but I have come without my weapon. Because the weapon we are talking about in this case is the water. Water is firefighter's weapon. And no firefighters go out without their weapon. It doesn't happen. I'm not speaking for Lagos State Fire Service in this regard. I'm speaking for the fire service in the world. No firefighter, fire engine will roll out to a fire scene without water. But we have this attitude that anytime a firefighter's engine come around and the first fire engine water is exhausted even before the fire is out, it's a case of no water, or they have come with little water. And this doesn't add up. There is no fire engine that will run without water to a fire scene, or even after exhausting its water, pulling out for another fire engine to continue firefighting, then the people just believe it has come with half tank of water. It's just mindset. It's an orientation which we have to change.
Fire system expert Engineer Jumade Adejola, who's been following the incident, speaks from the perspective of an operator in the private sector.
In as much that we have good workmen, but are not well equipped. The equipment they're supposed to use, some of them are even struggling to fight the fire. Let's say Lagos State, for example. So many workmen in Lagos State, the firefighters, they are professionals. They work very hard and well trained. But then they still need more equipment. The equipment they have is not enough for them to fight most of this fire. We're very careful with the way we deal with most of these equipment now, because when these agents are there, there's bound to be fire incident.
Solving the problem would start with understanding the cause of most of the fire. According to the World Life Expectancy Report, in 2016, Nigeria ranked first in the world for deaths by fire. The reason for this isn't the number of fires, but the absence of sensitization and consciousness of preventive and escape techniques.
The fire outbreak occurs either in micro or in our homes due to major things like carelessness, ignorance, and blind faith. Carelessness means that people are leaving fire without knowing that, without quenching it properly after using it, that fire overnight can what? It can become an uncontrolled fire, which can lead to the loss of lives and properties. So the same in the market. People are using fire for frying something like fish, meat, and other things. So after using the fire, they may like to leave the fire without quenching it properly. Or they may use this local solar system in their shops, or put in generators instead of using the single alternative of power. So as a result of this, the fire can occur over the night. Most of the fires occur over the night.
If you look at it, really, it is multifactorial. Multifactorial in the sense that the environment contributes a lot of factors in it. We are in a dry season, which is a very, very harsh environment that we are experiencing right now. It's a harsh weather that we are in now. So if there's any form of carelessness that leads to fire, it will quickly spread because the environment itself is conducive for spreading of fire. So that is the situation.
This brings to mind the emergency response time in the country. In neighboring Ghana, the target set for response time is 8 minutes. For the United States of America, the average emergency response time for every state is about 15 minutes. In the United Kingdom, it's about 11 minutes for rural areas and half of that for urban areas.
Response time is a factor of so many things, and some of this issue depends on who discovered the emergency. Because the action who discover the emergency takes, we tell on the response time. Because that will be when that person placed the call. Because most victims that suffer emergency, they are not in their right frame of mind to even place the call. Most calls we get are from third party. And amazingly, the Lagos emergency toll-free line 767 and 112 have been existing since 2007. And I can tell you, over 60 to 70% Lagosians don't still know these numbers as we speak. So who placed the emergency call? With which number did he place the emergency call? I've had calls, people will tell you 999, 199. Funny answers to emergency numbers if you inquire. Now, who placed the call? Then what information does the person give? Does it give accurate address? If you are giving accurate address, you are looking at the house number, the street name, the closest bus stop, landmark if any, then the community.
If the preventive aspects is okay, the response too will be okay. You will know what you need to do when there's emergency in Lagos State. What you need to do is call 112-767. And when you do that, ensure that you give way. You allow the emergency responders to respond. Now, it now comes to the complaint that some people are saying that our response is always delayed. No, I quite disagree with that. Because, you see, what normally leads to delayed in response is more of the attitude, orientation of our people. Let's take, for example, the Amu case. The Amu fire incident, we've done a sort of review of the whole thing. Let's look at the Amu fire incident. They call us at 12 midnight. We want to move in there. Firstly, they've parked their vehicle in such a way that we don't really have accessibility to the place. That's one. Two, there is problem in crowd control. You see various people with different missions. Some are there to genuinely assist. Some are there to loot. Secondly, look at the way they packed in vehicles around the access road to the place. The access road to the place is not comfortable. It's not convenient. We have to be using towing vehicle to tow vehicle from the street so that we could have access to it. Again, look at the sanitation in that area. They deal with sawdust. All the sawdust are piled in there. These are things that makes the flames to be so much enormous. Not only that, nearly 99% of this shop stored petrochemicals. They use engines. Some of these engines use generators. Some of these engines use petrochemical to generate their energy. All these petrochemicals are being stored inside those shops.
The use of fire hydrants, which are connection points, could buffer the losses and reduce the time of refilling the tanks. Lagos State Fire Service claims that there are 750 fire hydrants spread all through the state.
Even when the fire trucks have water, the maximum water each fire truck will have is 10,000 liters. What will 10,000 liters put out? In advanced nations, which I believe Lagos has also been doing before, but they need to up their operations. They have hydrants everywhere where you can just put on, just put on your suction hose, draw water from the hydrant to get more water. The little water they have inside the tanker cannot do cannot put out the water. That is why we are advising. We've been advising the government, and I know that the government will do it. And what are we doing to advise them? Is that each market must have a hydrant system. If you cannot, for example, if you cannot have hydrant everywhere now, because of the capital nature of that project is capital intensive. But why can't you just have hydrant system in each market?
Between year 2015 and 2014 and 2015, the fire hydrants in Lagos were reactivated from the underground fitted to a pillar type fire hydrant. What do I mean? The fire hydrant are underground designs before now, but we made them pillar because people build on those underground fitted. So we make them pillar type now so that even from afar you can see them and clear the way for them. You cannot even go by obstructing them. But that was our belief. But we were sure that these days people still even market. Well, I can give you that at Oregon, by that Oregon market at Oluyole bus stop. People still put their waste, their goods all around this pillar type hydrant. And you know, if you need to use it, you need to first battle with them to give you accessibility to it.
There's the irony of finding fire extinguishers at the scenes of incidents, which would indicate that it's one thing to preach the message of acquiring fire extinguishers and another to answer the question if how many people who have access to fire extinguishers can actually operate it, or how many people know that there are different types of extinguishers for different types of fire.
This is the water fire extinguisher. It's complete red. You can see the whole body is red, everything is red. Then I told you about the class B fire, where you have the fuel, that is liquid flammables, the fuel like PMS, diesel and everything. So this is what you use for that. Even for some hard waste, like your gear switch, your DB division board, this is what you use to put out the fire. And this is class B fire, and that is powder, which is the dry chemical powder. I told you it's with the pouch, the blue pouch. This is it. Then we talk about the CO2, that's for the class C. It's for the electrical fire, for the magnesium, even like something like, what do you call it? The foundry fire. Or this foundry company, where they have the foundry, they can have the fire, the magnesium and everything. So this is what you use. So this CO2 is a compressed CO2 and with a black pouch. Then I told you about the 4 fire extinguishers, especially for flammable liquid too. But this one is mostly used for any spillage. When you have a spillage, maybe a diesel truck or a PMS truck upturn, this type of fire extinguisher is supposed to use. Some people just use wrong type of fire extinguishers, and that is yellow. I told you, I know it's a cream, right? This is a cream color. Then I told you about the wet chemical for the kitchenette, for the kitchen, especially for the big kitchen where you have the deep fryer. So when they have the fryer, this is what they use. That's wet chemical. It's a new one, but it's very expensive. But this one is very effective. I need to sign a note of warning, seriously, that water extinguishers are not to be used on all fire, because water extinguisher is for class A fire alone. That is simple fire. Simple fire simply means all these free burning materials, like paper, like wood, like anything that is free burning. You can just apply water. Even you don't need to use an extinguisher for it. Most people that buy the extinguisher are the people working in the press, where they use paper. Those are the ones using it at the library and others. But if you have electrical fire, where cable are burning, you are not to use water. Reason is simple. If you apply water, it can cause electrical shock. So you need to be very careful. Also, when you see your car burning, your car is not a free burning material. Your car is under class B fire. Petrol, you need to apply DCP, dry chemical powder. If you apply water, do you know what? Let me tell you, chemically speaking, water is the composition of oxygen and what? I know oxygen and carbon dioxide. I mean, you know, so what will now happen is that if you apply water, and I told you 3 agents of fire is oxygen, heat, and fuel. So if you apply water inside the class B fire, what you are doing is to increase the content of oxygen in that fire. And what it does, that's why you see most of the time when the car is burning and you are pouring water, what does the fire do? It will just continue to come up.
Other ways of solving the Inferno challenge are on starting from the market. One major approach is collapsing of individual generators by shop owners to a central power supply system.
Now there is a standard Savangari power solution. It was an organization or a company that supply power to the market, approved by the government. So by doing this, all the local solar system and the other generator users are banned within the market. So whoever caught using generator should be arrested and handed over to the law for breaching of what? The law.
We have early warning units in all the 57 local governments. We have been relating with the Baba lodgers and Iya lodgers. But you see, as a disaster manager of the Lagos State, we are bound to change our tactics now. We want to start enforcement. I think by the time we introduce enforcement, we penalized some people. I think we have leadway in curtailing fire incidents in Lagos State. What do I mean by that? In all our markets, we want to ensure that we have market emergency units in place. These are people that we are going to build their capacity. They will be going along all shops. Anybody that stores petrochemical will be penalized. We will appeal to all our markets that they should be using a centralized generator as a backup. We will again appeal that our people should not encroach or vandalize our fire hydrants. Apart from the market sanitation day, Thursday sanitation day, we will ensure that market emergency teams move around the shops to check the wiring, to check if shops has fire extinguisher. We are not saying decorative fire extinguisher, a functional fire extinguisher. We will ensure that they do not have small generators inside their shops. They will ban them from storing petrochemicals inside their shops. Like that's AMU. They will ensure that all these sawdust are being cleared after a day job. So all the factors, both intrinsic and extrinsic factors that we aid, that we cause fire in our locality, in our environment, will be dealt with.
With the number of Inferno, it's become more apparent that there should be more smoke alarms, fire blankets, clearly marked escape routes, fire extinguishers, and regular fire drills in markets, offices, and residents. Proper planning of buildings, both in markets and residents, with strict adherence to safety guidelines, are long-term strategies to prevention and reducing the loss due to fire incidents. That's our story. Join us next week for another topic. I'm Ini John Mekwa.